Hello, everyone. Let's see what message the cards have to say for some of you today. These are general, so take what works, and what doesn't work just doesn't work. But remember, you are the master of your own destiny. So always trust yourself and trust your judgment. And let's see what the cards have to say. First up, you have the Page of Cups here. Then you have the King of Wands. These cards are so cool looking. And then you have, these two came out. You have the Two of Wands and the Knight of Pentacles. And for your challenge, you have the Moon reversed. And what is recommended is Judgment. I feel that there was some type of message, because the pages, they're students, but they're also messengers, and the cups really reflects our emotions, or it hits us in the feel. They represent our emotions. I think there was some type of message you might have received that had to do with some type of like on an emotional level. And I think it's like spurring this King of Wands, this kind of bossing up energy right now. Because the King of Wands he's all about action, but he's not afraid to have other people help him kind of going forward or asking for help from other people to accomplish his dreams or his desires or what he's trying to do. But he's very, I would say, decisive. And I always see him as a person that's like ready to kind of think outside the box a little bit and try some weird crap out. Like if there's somebody that's going to come at something in some kind of crazy way, it's the King of Wands. I think whatever message you received is now spurring you into this. And this could even be that you learned something as well. It could be a message, but even messages are in a way learning something, right? Because if you receive a message in that sense, you might be learning something. Some type of message or kind of thing you've been learning that has to do with some emotional aspects. So this could be relationships or hobbies, work, anything that kind of hits you in the feels a little bit or is a little bit more tied to your emotions. What you're kind of, I see the cups even, a little bit passion, because anytime we have the emotions and it's something we really like, we kind of can tie into the whole passionate thing. And especially because the King of Wands is here, I think this is something that you do feel passionate about. So this could be like career, hobbies, anything. But I think you're bossing up right now. And I think going forward, I think you're really trying to plan effectively how you're going to do this, because you have the Two of Wands here and the Knight of Pentacles. Now, the Knight of Pentacles, I always see him as being very thorough. I feel like he's going to do a good job. Like he's not rushing anything. There's no rushing with this guy. He's going to take his time. But I always see him as the long haul kind of guy. If there's anybody as far as the knights that I feel that could eventually potentially get to his destination, it's this guy. It's going to be slow going, but he's committed, in my mind at least, for the long haul. He's not going to be shaken. Every time a bump or an obstacle happens, I just feel him figuring out how to overcome that, because he has the vision for the end. He knows what he wants in the end, and he's aware that you might be schlepping it all for a while, and it might not be very passionate or desirable or exciting or fun, but he knows that he's all about practicality and everything. And I think the Two of Wands here is representing you kind of starting to look beyond your horizons, starting to think about, how am I going to move this forward? What am I doing to try to either birth this idea, or this could be something you've been working on for a long time and now you're deciding to tweak it a little bit. So I feel like you're in this kind of planning stage, or you soon will be in this planning phase of this, but I think you're planning very practically in a sense. So I think you might be realizing that whatever you're trying to do is not going to be an overnight quick fix or overnight success, but I think it's something you need to get out of your comfort zone in a way. And I think it's like you trying to figure it out very practically and in a way that you can sustain it or sustain this activity or whatever this is over a long period of time. Because success does not come for those who give up, okay? Nobody's ever succeeded at anything that they just stopped doing. I think this is something that you want and you're willing to put the time and effort in, and I feel like you're willing to kind of come at it a little different. With the King of Wands, he's going to come at it all sorts of kind of ways. He's very intelligent. I see him as a risk taker as well. But I think what's good about this is that I think you're willing to take the risk, but you're trying to strategically figure out the best way to not, I don't want to say get screwed, but if you're like investing in something, I feel like you're getting out of a comfort zone, but you're trying to do it correctly in a way. Like you're not trying to just invest in whatever. You're trying to be more strategic about where you're putting your time, how you're putting your time, energy, and effort into something. And I think that's really, really positive. But your challenge is the moon reversed. Now, this could indicate that you need to let go of some fears. You can let go of anxieties, fears, or something that is plaguing you. Now, I feel with this energy here, especially because we have the Judgment being recommended for you, I feel like you might be going in a little bit of a shadowy state. You might not really have a clear idea of how you're pushing forward or how you're moving this forward, whatever this represents for you. And I feel like you might not be getting clarity. Like, sometimes when you put energy or effort into something, sometimes you get a little feedback right away, whether if that's from people or things happening. You might not be getting the feedback. You might be just trying something and you're like, okay, I don't know if I'm doing it correctly. I don't know if this is going to work. But the moon in reverse, I think, is saying that you got to listen to your gut, because maybe even you're getting some kind of feedback that could be indicating that it's not happening or going the way you wanted it to go. But I feel like your intuition is coming up here saying like, listen, no. You got to keep at it. You know what to do. And even though you might not be getting the results you want right away, I just feel like this is something that you need to do for the long haul, because the Knight of Pentacles, he's in it for the long haul. Like he's trudging through that for the long haul. So I think that you need to kind of, whatever this represents for you is a long haul type of energy. And I think you just really need to trust your intuition and kind of let go of certain fears, even though you might feel super foggy state, you might not really know how you're proceeding forward, but I think this is saying that you still have to kind of feel it out a little bit and just trust your gut. And now the Judgment being recommended for you, the Judgment is my card of becoming a zombie. It's basically like these people have passed on and now they have risen in their new zombie life. And I think it's extremely positive because it's you kind of answering the call. It's you kind of stepping beyond your old self, your old life, the old way of doing things, and kind of leveling up in a sense and really getting on the path of what you were really meant to be. These people were always really meant to be zombies. Now they're becoming a zombie and they could fully embrace their living dead attributes. So I think this is extremely positive. I think this is saying that there is something greater for you out there and you just need to step into that role. Now, once these people become the zombie, they're no longer affected by things that they were affected when they were humans, when they were like the living. Things, maybe keeping up with the Joneses or something, it doesn't affect them anymore. They don't need the fancy purses or they don't need this or that. Now they just want to eat flesh. But in saying that, so now they have a different life. They have different values. They have different set of standards. They've leveled up in a sense. This is how I see this. So I think that whatever you're doing, I feel like you're leveling up, but I feel like you kind of just need to trust the process. And I think this process is going to actually wind up changing you and transforming you into a certain state. And I think that's going to be very beneficial for you. I think you're going to wind up kind of changing from this, but I feel like this is extremely positive. This could be like you're changing a business, hobbies, whatever, friendships, family, whatever it is, whatever it represents for you. I definitely think it's really positive. And I feel like the Judgment to me is like something that you have always been meant to do. You've always been meant to leave something behind, your old self, and you're stepping into your new self. And I think that's extremely positive. And because there's like a higher calling almost for you, there's something else that you really meant to do. I think this is extremely positive. But let's see what else, what other cards have to say for you. Let's see what else we get for you guys. First up, you have Eagle Spirit. Spirit has your back. And I think this is just saying that, like, even though you might be going through this moon phase right now, this moon phase in reverse as your challenge, that you really are not sure if you're on the right track, if you're doing something correctly, you know, what's going to happen. I just think this is saying that you just need to have faith, because part of the judgment, in a sense, is kind of having faith. It's having faith that you're answering the call to a higher calling. You know, you're answering your true purpose in life, you know, when you're on the right track. I just think this is really confirming and reaffirming in a way that you just need to have faith that Spirit has your back and you are doing whatever this represents for you. You're kind of going in the right direction. Now, Red Jasper, take action, and Citrine, bring in the light. I think these two are saying that with the King of Wands here, he's all about taking action. And bring in the light, like he's a fiery energy. So he's kind of shedding light on things at the same time. And I think because with the moon, I feel like, especially because it's in reverse, you might be feeling that things are a little bit murky, a little bit dark. You're not entirely sure what you're doing potentially, or if you're doing the correct thing. But I think this is saying that by you taking action on this and actually continuing to plan with the Two of Wands and the Knight of Pentacles and trying to figure out really the practical aspects and kind of work diligently on it, because he's also a guy that's working diligently. He's showing up every day. This guy, he's going to be there. He's the guy at work that is showing up to work. He's not taking vacations, maybe once in a while. And when he takes a vacation, people are like, oh, wow, really? He's not here today? He's actually on vacation? This is that guy. He's showing up, he's doing it, and he's thorough with it. And I always see him as a guy that kind of like rolls with the punches a little bit. He's like, okay, you know what, this sucked a little bit, but that's okay. I'm going to try it again tomorrow. I think you need to continue to take action, continue to take those steps forward. And I think as you do that, you're going to be illuminating, if you're going through this moon phase, you'll be illuminating some of this darkness, some of this, the path is not very clear. You know, you'll start illuminating it a little bit more, and it'll be better and more effective for you. It'll be a little clearer for you. Now, then you have self-indulgence, focus on self, self-worth, time to heal, shadow work, self-appreciation. I think, honestly, anytime we have this moon period, I think sometimes we could get really, really down on ourselves because we don't know what's going on. We don't know if we're doing something correctly. We don't know anything. I think this is just saying that you just need to kind of remind yourself that, or take the time for yourself if you need a little self-care. Because I really feel whatever this is, I feel like it's kind of something that you love, something that you're a little bit passionate about, but something that's going to require you really getting out of your comfort zone and really taking kind of a long time to really accomplish your end goal. And I think it's not quite clear. But I think whatever this is really going to help you level up in a sense, even if it's just spiritually, if it's physically, whatever it is, however it represents for you. But within that, you just need to always kind of come back to center in a way. If you need to take time for yourself, you take time for yourself, because the judgment, this is all about, in a way, self-care as well, because they are transforming in a sense. And the next you have flirt, extend your lighthearted energy to others. And I think this is saying that you got to have fun a little bit. You have to have fun. And With the King of Wands, he's not afraid to ask people for help. If he has something he needs to do, he's not like, oh, I got to just do this by myself. He's going to be like, okay, X, Y, and Z can help me with this, and we're going to get this done. This might be that maybe there's somebody else around you that could kind of help you, even if it's just bouncing ideas off that person. There might be something around you or someone around you, or even a program. Sometimes we could get these programs to do certain things, or we learn something to make our tasks easier. So I think there's something by kind of maybe reaching out to somebody else that could kind of help you, or even learning something a little bit different that could help you along this. Because the pages, they're also students, so there might be something that you can kind of learn that will make this a little bit easier or a little bit more efficient, or make some of these mundane tasks that the Knight of Pentacles has to deal with, maybe make them a little less mundane in a way, or kind of streamline it to a certain degree. Then you have ask me closer to the time. Now, I know you guys didn't ask a question, but I feel like this is kind of indicating that whatever this is, I think you're in, I don't want to say the beginning stages, because this could be something you've been working on for a long time. Sometimes we work on something for a long time and then we kind of, I don't want to say put it on the shelf, but we take a pause, or we're not really pushing it forward, or we're not trying things new. We're kind of getting, I don't want to say stale with it, but we're kind of getting repetitive with it. But you might be having this inspirational idea or desire to try to push it in a different direction. So I feel like this is going with the moon in a way that you're not really going to get potentially like a very clear answer right yet. I think there's a lot of maybe directions that you could kind of take this, or there's a lot still up in the air that you still are figuring out. And that's indicated by the Two of Wands being here and the Knight of Pentacles. I think you're still in that planning phase of really figuring out how to do this. How is this going to work type of energy. But I think that's good. Okay, so now you have discover. Spot new opportunities. And I feel like, I wonder if that's really going with this flirt card here, and even bringing in the light, because there might be some type of opportunity that you need to take action on, or somebody that you could kind of like network with or find out something about to help you kind of push this forward. Because the Two of Wands and the Knight of Pentacles, like I said, this guy's in for the long haul. And if there's a way to kind of figure some of this out, you know, make some of these tasks a little easier, whether it's maybe hiring somebody, if you have a business or something you're doing and you can hire somebody to help you along with it, or going about something in a different way. I think there's some new opportunities that you just need to be a little bit open to right now. Next up, we have solar plexus chakra, and it says topaz here. And this says manifestation. Manifestation is the fruition of confidence and belief. Let me read that one more time. Manifestation is the fruition of confidence and belief. And I think that you just have to stay in this kind of manifesting mindset right now. Just stay confident in yourself, because the King of Wands, he is confident. Let me tell you something. This guy's going to figure it out. If there's anybody that's going to figure it out, it's this guy. And he's going to come at it probably a way that you've never seen before. You're going to be like, how did that work out? And you'll be like, oh, it did. He's not afraid to try different things. And he's not, I don't see him as a guy that's afraid of failure. In fact, I think he expects failure. But through failure, he's going to try something else, and eventually he's going to get it correctly. He's going to take action, and he's going to keep trying until it works. I don't see him as a guy that's going to give up very easily either. And I think the confidence and belief really has to come with this moon card here, that you just need to really believe in yourself, believe in that you either have the skills to make this work, or you're capable of learning the skills to make this work, and that you're kind of answering a higher calling, and that spirits has your back as well, because I think confidence and belief really goes with that. Like, you just gotta just stay confident in yourself. And then we have, if you don't start thinking outside the box, it may eventually become your coffin. And then you also have, you can't run from the shadow, but you can invite it to dance. Now, if you can't start thinking outside the box, it may eventually become your coffin, is going with the King of Wands. He's the outside the box thinker. The Two of Wands is about getting outside of that comfort zone and really starting to think, well, what is beyond this? How can I expand this forward? What do I want? And the Knight of Pentacles is here being like, you know what? Okay, well, how am I going to do this? Like, how do I make this work for the long haul? And what steps need to be taken to actually get to the end destination? And the moon, I think you have to just kind of release the anxiety of getting outside the comfort zone, of not taking those steps or having the fear that you're not capable of it. I think that's extremely positive. And you can't run from the shadow, but you can invite it to dance. And this is saying, listen, you might screw some stuff up sometimes. I screw up stuff all the time, but I try. I just fixed my washing machine a couple weeks back. It broke. It stopped. I have a front loaded washer and it stopped. I was washing something and it stopped. It was having problems turning the, what is that thing? The barrel or the whatever's in there. The thing in there. It wasn't turning. It was kind of getting stuck and then it had an error message pop up. So I looked up the error message and everything and I found out really kind of what it could be. And I went on to YouTube and I, started researching how do you fix this. And I found what part that I thought it was. There was 3 parts that it could have been. So I bought 2 of the parts were really easy to replace. So I bought those 2 off of Amazon because Amazon, you could return it. If you didn't use it, you could return it. My friend came over. I have a stackable and we unstacked the dryer. I pulled out the washer. I got behind there. I unscrewed stuff. I unscrewed the rotor thingy and whatever was going on. And I swapped out this hall sensor thingy. I always call it the hall monitor, but it's like a hall sensor piece. It took me less than 15 minutes. And that was me probably struggling with some of the bolts a little bit because some of them were a little really tight because it was from, it's still a newer machine. It's not super new, but it's not super old either. So anyway, I fixed it. I tried it, put it back together, tried it. It works. It works great. Now, this is what I'm saying. Sometimes you're going to screw stuff up because I know maybe it wouldn't have worked or whatever, but sometimes you make things work and it works out. You can't be afraid. You can't be afraid to try stuff. That fix cost me $12, actually under $12 because Amazon had a 5% little sale thing on this item. And then I wound up returning the second item. So that fix cost me $12. Now, if I had somebody come out here and do it for me, you know how many hundreds of dollars that would have cost me? No. Okay, so this is what I'm saying. Don't be afraid to try stuff. A lot of times people are kind of afraid to try something. You can learn stuff. You can try it. Just you always unplug stuff or turn off the water if you're going to tinker. But don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. And this is saying that don't be afraid of, I don't say bad things happening or things not turning out quite the way you think they're going to turn out because you're never going to know unless you do. You're never going to know unless you try. Don't run from it. If there's something that's kind of scaring you a little bit, even if you do little steps here and there, like little things, don't be afraid to try it out. I'm telling you right now, you're going to realize you have so much more capabilities, and then you're going to wind up really expanding your comfort zone because you'll be like, oh my God, what if I do this? What if, for me, what if I break this washing machine? But I'm like, it's already broken. What am I going to break it more? If I don't fix it, I'm going to have the guy come out anyway. So let me try it out. And, sometimes it works. More often or not, you actually figure it out. Next up, we have let sit happen to you, okay? And this says sit happens. This is just saying if you need to take a break, if you need to take a moment and meditate or just step outside, because the moon, to me, there's a lot of anxiety and everything, a lot of needing to really kind of release those anxieties and fears. Sometimes you just have to release it, and sometimes you just have to either sit or do something that's not this. And then next up you have, for your affirmation card, you have, today I am healthy. Today my mind, my heart, and my soul are one healthy being. And I think this is just, you have to remind, if you're having this moon phase and you're a little bit kind of feeling anxiety or whatever, if you just remind yourself that you're healthy, you can do this, you are just a healthy being, you're being guided, because the judgment here is reminding you that you're being guided, and you have, with the eagle spirit has your back, you're being guided. So this is just to remind you that you can do this. You can do this. And let's see what little stress relief and self-care card, let's see what we have for you here. You have laugh. Objective, letting go of those negative thoughts by laughing. Laughter triggers the release of endorphins, the body's natural feel-good chemicals. It helps our mind let go of everything else. Tip, attend a laughter class. If you're finding it difficult to do this, practice on your own, or watch some YouTube videos, TV shows a funny comedian or something else you find hilarious. Now let me ask you guys, have any of you ever heard of a laughter class? You let me know in the comments below if you've ever heard of a laughter class. Like, I have personally never heard of like, okay, we're going to get together and we're just going to laugh. I've never heard of that, but I'm not saying it doesn't exist. But you let me know if you've actually attended it, if you've heard about it or anything, how it went. I don't think it's a bad idea, but I think this is really good. I think it's great watching something that you really like or just listening to something positive, because sometimes laughter, it's so healing. It helps shift out of that kind of negative state. And sometimes we need a break from that, especially because I think whatever you're doing here, I think it's major. To me, this is not like little energy here. To me, this is very big energy. And I feel like you're kind of creating something potentially interesting, you know, whatever this represents for you. I think it's something long-term and potentially life-changing. So I think that's extremely exciting. Now let's see what Bob Ross has to say for you today. You have unlimited power here. You can do that. You can do anything on this canvas, anything. I love that. This is saying that you just have to get in your creative element. With whatever this is, the world is your oyster, because with the Two of Wands, he typically has like the world, he's holding the world and he's like looking at that, and that symbolizes you have all these options. You are ready to expand and grow and do whatever you want. Like, you're at the beginning of that journey, or beginning of figuring out how you want to move forward, what's the best way. And I think with the Knight of Pentacles is you really kind of figuring that out. Like, you're taking those steps, you're figuring out the actual practicality of how to get there, which is incredible. And anytime we do that, a lot of times we go through these mood phases. That's our challenge. We don't know, is it going to work? Is this the good idea? But I think this is you. It's recommended to remind what's calling you to do this, you know, that I really feel like this is going to be a positive transformative event for you. You have the unlimited power to do anything, you know, paint your life as the way you want it to be painted. And let's see what spirit of the dish shall be with you on this specific journey. You have the spirit of the link, which is the spirit of the sausage link. There you go. Okay. Now, for your dinner and a movie, you have thriller films and Mexican food. For the energies that you either need to tap into or be aware of, I just moved that one. You have Pisces, and Pisces is all about vision, creativity, and illusions. And you also have Scorpio, which is about transformation and major changes. You have Venus here, and this is about love, money, and powers of attraction. And then you have Uranus here, and this is about independence and eccentricity. You have the 6th house, which represents health, detail, order, work, and structure. And then you have the 12th house, which is about occult, psychic abilities, and the subconscious mind. Now you have number 5, which is an odd number. So that means the special guest that will be answering your question today will be the Magic 8 Ball. So think of those questions and he'll be out here shortly. You have N, W, L, M, J, C, T, Y, A, and you have 4, 8. Oh my God, you guys got the globe. I really feel like this is you really, the world is your oyster. You're expanding outwards. You're kind of getting out of a comfort zone. And I really feel like you're in the beginning phases of, and this might be something that you've been doing for a while, but now you're trying to push it more. You're pushing it forward. So I think whatever you're doing, you're deciding to push it forward. You're pushing it more, trying to expand it in a certain kind of way. So I think you're figuring that out. You might be trying to look at all your options and figure out, well, where am I going? What do I want to do? You know, what is the next step and how will I get there and how will I achieve that? So that's really, really positive. And I think this is saying that like you have kind of infinite possibilities in a way, because if you spin this, you could spin it forever in a way. I think that's really, really positive. And I think to me, this is also saying that one step will lead to another step, leading to another step, leading to another step. And I think the final outcome is you going to be having this like really enlightenment and really changing your life for something much better. That is excellent. And you have healing. And I feel like this is going with the moon card a little bit. I feel like some of you might have had, okay, we've all had setbacks. Okay, we've all had things that haven't worked out. We've experienced this. So some of you might be having to go through some type of healing to really release, especially because the moon is in reverse. This can indicate that you need to release certain things. You need to release things and fears, anxieties, or whatever, things that aren't serving you, things that have happened that you're allowing to let you, like, to hinder you now. You need to release that. So I think that you need to kind of heal from this in order to kind of step into your new zombie life. I think that's really, really positive. Now, it is time. I'm going to bring him out. Here he is. Think of those questions and let us ask. Oh, mystical, magical 8-ball, the mightiest ball of all the balls in the world. What is the answer to everyone's question? It says, better not tell you now. Oh, well, the 8-ball, you know, he has connections. He has connections to the top. I'm thinking like his connections are saying, you know, we're not going to let him know right now. They're going to find out. But I think it's interesting that you did get Ask Me Closer to the Time here. I think that I'm wondering, especially because you have, you know, the Two of Wands here, and then with the World, I wonder if there's like a lot of different options that you're kind of facing right now regarding this, and there's a lot of different routes you could take. And I think depending on the route you do decide to take, because some of you might be thinking you're going to go one way right now, like you're going to do this, but maybe in the upcoming weeks or the months or however long, you might learn something, or you might just find something else out. Even with this Page of Cups and this King of Wands, because he's the trial and error kind of guy, I see him. So you might actually be trying something and then find out, you know what, no, this isn't the best. Because like this Knight of the Pentacles, he's going to try it out. But he, to me, is also, he's not dumb, especially because you have the King of Wands here. So I think like if something's not kind of working that great, you're going to try something in a different way. But you're going to keep your options open. You're going to keep looking for better ways to do something. So I think you might, in the next upcoming however long, be maybe switching gears a little bit or changing things up. And I think then you'll have more clarity, and I think you might be more in line or closer to doing things the way that is better for you, or you'll have some enlightenment in a sense, even with the Judgment, that you're going to do something in a different kind of way. So your question right now might not actually be relevant in the upcoming however long. Because tarot, you know, it kind of doesn't have a clock. It doesn't care. It kind of happens in its own thing. And I feel like whatever this is, it's going to take a little while. I don't think this is like a quick type of thing, but I think it's potentially could be something really, really good and really positive. So this reading was amazing. I hope you all have a wonderful day, week, month, year, lifetime. I hope you all have a wonderful everything. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.